Hello, everybody. It's fantastic to be with you again. Today, I'm going to be talking about the exciting subject of happiness. It's interesting that the vast majority of the population seeks happiness as one of their goals that they yearn for most. Sadly, the vast majority of many populations are not happy. An example is the United States, which has an excessive use of antidepressants. You would think that they would be happy because they are one of the wealthiest nations in the world. Happiness has been linked to wealth, but when we get to a certain ceiling in terms of wealth, that happiness tends to dissipate. So, an amount of money does contribute to happiness levels, but when we get to a certain level, it doesn't matter how much money we make, that happiness doesn't increase. So, with happiness being one of the things that we as human beings yearn for most, today I'm going to talk about one of the tips to actually becoming happy or happier. And that is simply by nurturing yourself. Just as you top and fill up your car, your automobile, car, some Americans refer to it as an automobile, with water, oil, gas, in order to ensure it's keeping running, so too do you need to take the time to ensure that you keep yourself running. Therefore, we need to nurture ourselves, don't we? The human body is designed in such a way that it needs nutrition and rest. Without that really good nutrition and rest, it affects our body chemistry, it affects our overall well being, and therefore how we feel, and therefore our happiness levels. If you don't feed your body sufficiently, you will suffer on a mind, body, and soul level. That is, if you are not taking in sufficient nutrition, you cannot function. It's as simple as that. And you could fall prey to sicknesses and disease. All of this is tied into our levels of happiness. At the same time, you will also lose the capacity to think clearly. That's if you're not getting that sufficient nutrition. Keep that in mind. So, in effect, your brain functioning reduces dramatically. Therefore, just as you take time to fill your car, take time to fill and nurture your body and your soul. Very important. This will have a direct and positive impact on how you feel. Obviously, that goes without saying, on the level at which you're able to operate, and therefore your overall levels of happiness. So, when we truly start to understand happiness, we realize that it's more than just having a fun moment or a happy moment or laughing out loud. This is just one of the elements that contribute to our overall happiness. So, as already alluded to many times in my previous messages, your body chemistry has an effect on how you feel. This chemistry is affected by your thoughts and your emotions instantaneously, as well as the way you live your life. Our brain also produces many chemicals that naturally raise your levels of happiness. Endorphins are one example. Many of you might have heard that when you go out and you exercise, those endorphin levels are increased, and therefore we feel this natural high. So, yes, those endorphins are the one example. Endorphins are a natural painkiller. Another example is serotonin, which naturally calms anxiety and relieves depression. So, you can see again that very powerful tie in how happiness can contribute to our overall well being. These chemicals are permanently on tap, ready at any time to raise your levels of happiness. A stressful lifestyle, for instance, too much work, stress, drugs, alcohol, sleep deprivation, a diet that is not nutritious enough, and little to no exercise, for examples, are examples of a stressful life, hinders your body's ability to produce the natural happy chemicals. We all have happy chemicals within us, which in turn, so those happy chemicals in turn those negative chemicals could negatively affect the body's ability to naturally be happy and feel generally good. So, leading a balanced lifestyle, a balanced way of being is absolutely essential. Your moods are linked to four neurotransmitters in your body that produce a state of happiness. This is really interesting. Neurotransmitters are fueled by nutrients called amino acids. So that's essential that you're getting those amino acids as well. Amino acids are supplied in your body through the food and supplements that you might take, food that you consume on a day-to-day basis. It goes without saying that if you are not taking in the correct foods that have the required aminos, then your levels of health will be negatively influenced and your levels of happiness will be reduced. That is, if your amino acids are high enough, you will generally experience good mood and be happier. So you can already see that tie into nutrition and nurturing yourself. It is fascinating, isn't it? So, if you are uncertain as to whether your diet is appropriate, that is, it positively contributing to your overall health and well-being, longevity, and levels of happiness, visit an experienced nutritionist. This is very important. And then obtain a blood analysis and a balanced eating plan. You will be amazed at the positive effect. I personally had a number of allergies roughly 10 years ago, was always feeling down, depressed, not really depressed, but I feel my mood was feeling depressed. I was always getting sick. I had aches and pains all over. Went for blood tests, picked up that I had a lot of food allergies because I wasn't eating properly, changed my diet, and within 6 months, I felt like $1 million. So I can personally attest to that change if we change our diet and ensure that we're getting all the nutrients and the amino acids that our body requires. At the end of the day, studies and research clearly demonstrate that a balanced eating plan that combines with regular exercise, very important, that is, exercise increased the flow of the endorphins, the natural high brought about through exercise. Remember that exercise brings that about. Healthy breathing techniques and a sufficient rest and sleep at night, your energy levels and your ability to concentrate more are increased, and your overall well-being increases, and a natural state of joy and optimal levels of happiness are achieved. Now, this is an interesting fact that I'm going to share with you. In their book, Happy for No Reason, Marci Shimoff and Carol Klein make mention of Dr. Henry S. Lodge, an assistant clinical professor of medicine at the Columbia University and co-author of Younger Next Year. They go into detail about how Dr. Lodge states that the body replaces approximately 1% of the body cells on a daily basis, which equates to a whole new body every 3 months. Isn't that amazing? He goes on to say that when we exercise, the muscles of the body release specific substances that tell our cells to grow. On the opposite end of the scale, I'm afraid to say, when you lead a sedentary lifestyle, your muscles are actually sending out chemicals that are telling your body to die. So people who exercise more tend to have a longer life. People who don't exercise at all tend to shorten their lifespan. So this is also a very, very powerful fact, increasing our longevity. If this alone isn't sufficient motivation to get off your behind, to get off your butt, to get a life and to be happy, then I don't know. So really go out there and orchestrate this change in your life. Orchestrate this change purely by nurturing yourself. You can see by applying some simple techniques, as I've just shared with you, through exercise, nutrition, and a number of other things that I've mentioned, you can naturally, without any effort at all, increase your happiness levels. Hope you've enjoyed this tip, and I look forward to making contact with you soon with my next happiness tip. And here's to us all being happy, energized, full of joy, prosperous, and living abundant lives. Thank you. Take care. Look forward to seeing you soon.